Hey there, tech fans. Rick here again with another gadget I hope you'll find interesting. It's a 10,000 milliampere power bank from our friends over at VogDuo called the PowerGo that includes a couple of really important leading edge features you're going to want to hear about. Now, the company VogDuo has been around for quite some time. They're actually one of the larger companies that build these kind of portable charging solutions, and they make car chargers and home chargers. And if the name rings a bell, it's because I've talked about them before on the channel, and I've actually reviewed a few of their products, and I just love the way this company thinks. Their engineers are smart enough to design products that adhere to modern standards. They build a lot of intelligence inside of it, which means any product you buy from them will work on a wider universe of products that you want to charge, and it'll probably charge the next device you're going to buy a year or two from now because they're so smart in building those advanced standards into it. Now, I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the specifications, but before I do, in the spirit of full disclosure, they did send me this unit for review, but I promise you that's not going to impact my impressions of the unit. You guys know I'm always very honest about anything I review, and to prove that point, I'm not even going to keep the unit. So if you look down below, you'll see a link. Hit that link, it'll come up with a form, just enter your email on the form. After 7 days, I'm gonna pull a name at random, put this thing in an envelope and ship it off to some lucky winner out there to get a brand new power bank from VogDuo. I'm not gonna keep the emails either, but there's no charge for any of this, there's no strings attached. We're just happy to give it away, and I'm sure somebody out there is gonna love getting this power bank. So now that I've said enough about that, let's talk about what you get in the package. So when you pop open the box, you get the power bank itself. It comes in two colors. This is the black version. There's also a pink version. You get a warranty card, which explains exactly what the warranty on the device is. It also gives you information on how to contact the company if you've got problems or questions. You won't, but it's nice to have that information in case you have a question. You also get a full owner's manual. The owner's manual is good because it's got a lot of information on how you can safely charge this, how you can connect it to other devices, what the ports do on the front, what the LEDs mean. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Rick, do I really need an instruction manual? It's a power bank. I'll just charge it up, take it with me, and charge my devices. Well, yeah, you could do that, but as I mentioned before, it's an incredibly smart device. So there's information in there to tell you what the LEDs mean on the front, how you can charge it safely, how you can charge other devices. So take a minute and read the instruction manual. It'll really help you use the product a little bit more efficiently. The last thing you'll see in the package is this incredibly short cable. And when I first saw this, I thought, well, man, when am I ever going to use that thing? It's so tiny, I'm never going to be able to connect anything up to it. Well, it turns out it's one of my favorite cables. It's a USB-C to USB-C, and where you use this is you plug it into the front USB-C connection, plug your phone into here, fold it back against the back, and I've got a nice little package I can drop into my backpack and take with when I'm traveling. Now, I can use any cable I want, but having a 3-foot cable dangling between that and the phone means I got to wrap it up and it's hanging out and it's getting snagged and everything. So I love this little cable. It works out just great. And it's kind of nice that they include that in the kit with it. All right, so enough about the unit. Let's talk a little bit about the specifications behind it, because this is really where it shines. Now, a power bank isn't a power bank. There are a lot of power banks on the market that are what I call dumb power banks, which are really just a bunch of LiPo cells inside of a plastic case. You charge them, cross your fingers that nothing bad happens, then you use that to charge your phone, but there's not a lot of brains built into them, which means they're just batteries firing current at your device. The danger there is that these are not that expensive. The stuff you're connecting up to them is real expensive, so if they're not smart, you stand a chance of damaging that expensive electronics you're trying to charge off it. That's not the case with this product at all. This is an incredibly brilliant device. So let's talk about the USB standards first. So on the front, you've got a USB-A connection, which is the standard full-size connection. You've got a USB-C connection, which is also a power delivery standard. So it's USB-C power delivery, and I'll talk about what that means in a minute. You can use both of these at the same time. You charge the device through the USB-C connection. You've got LEDs across the front that give you an indication of how well it's charged, how much charge is left, and what it's doing when it's charging other devices. Now, having said all that, the USB-A connection is a standard USB-A connection, which is 5 volts, and it can be a bunch of different currents. So USB-A can either be a half amp, an amp and a half, 2 amps, or even 2.4 amps. This USB-A connection is a full 2.4 amps, which means it has enough energy and enough power to charge even your bigger thirsty devices like your larger tablets and some of your game controllers and things like that. So you're getting the best standard out of it. Some of the less expensive chargers have a standard USB-A connection on it, but they only charge it an amp or an amp and a half, and you wouldn't know that unless you read the manual, but that's going to frustrate you because it's going to take twice as long to charge your devices. This guy's going to give you the maximum output safely to charge those devices for you. All right, let's talk a little bit about the USB-C connection over here. USB-C is the latest standard, and the power delivery version of it is the latest standard even still, and what that means is that power delivery standard is smart, and this thing has brains inside of it that whenever I connect up a device to it, whether I'm going to the USB-A or the USB-C connection, the first thing it's going to do is have a brief conversation with whatever device I connect up to it, and figure out what the charging is required to get that thing fully charged, how much current is in the device already, and it's going to make adjustments to the voltage on the USB-C and the current it fires at that device to charge it as quickly as possible and as safely as possible. And the USB-C standard under power delivery can charge at 5 volts, 9 volts, or 12 volts at either an 1.5 amp, 2 amps, or 3 amps. So this guy's got a lot of work ahead of it because you can plug a bunch of different devices in. Every time you do, it's going to start that conversation, figure out what the safest charging current and voltage would be, and start charging that device. Here's the beauty. The quick charging standards that are out there vary quite a bit. So if you've got Apple products, Apple uses a charging standard that's different than Android products, that's different than other products. So this has to not only know that it's a quick charging device, but what kind of quick charging device it is, and then deliver the current required for that. And it does all that perfectly. So you can use this with your Apple phones. If you're like an Apple iPhone 8 or newer, it's got that quick charging ability in it. You could use it with Android devices. You could use this with your Nintendo Switch. You can use it with laptops. So it's really the most versatile device that I have in my arsenal of charging products out there. And I just love that it works with everything. Now, let's talk a little bit about Apple for starters. So with Apple, you can charge it standard over the USB-A connection. It'll charge at 2.4 amps and take its time charging your device. If you have a newer Apple phone, like I said, the iPhone 8 or newer, you can use a USB-C to Lightning connector. Now, I've tested it with the Apple version. So if you buy it from the Apple Store, it works fine. The minute you plug it into your iPhone, it goes into rapid charge, and I'll show you how it indicates that in a minute, but it starts rapid charging it. The other thing you need to know about the Apple phones is that it'll only rapid charge up to 80% of the phone. So once you hit 80%, it drops right back down to a standard 5-volt, USB charging rate to fill up the rest of the phone. But I love the fact that I can take a phone that's almost depleted, an Apple phone, plug it in here, drop it in my bag, and in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, have about 30-40% of the charge back in it. That's an incredibly cool thing, because then I can use my phone the rest of the day. The charging can also be used for the quick charge compatible devices. So if you've got Android devices like a lot of the Samsungs or tablets or whatever that are QC compatible or quick charge compatible, this is compatible with the version 1, version 2, and version 3. So it really is like a Swiss Army knife for charging that no matter what you're going to connect up through the USB-A or USB-C, it's going to safely and effectively charge those devices. Now, how do I charge the device? That's the next big question. So you have a couple of options there. You're going to charge this through the USB-C connection on the front. Now, you can charge it with a standard charger, and I don't care what kind of wall charger you've got. If you're plugging in that wall charger and it ends in a USB-C, you can charge this device. But I will tell you that a lot of these chargers are pretty smart about how they charge other devices, but they're really dumb about how they get charged. This is smart in both directions, so it's smart enough to know when you connect it up to a charger, if it's a standard charger, it's going to take its time getting charged because it's going to charge it at 5 volts, typically at 2.5 amps, depending on what the charger is that's plugged into the wall. But if you're using a power delivery charger that has a higher current and make the adjustments, this will shift into high gear and absorb those electrons or take those electrons on from that charger faster to charge this thing a lot quicker. And I love that about it because I don't want to have to take all night to charge something. I love to get this charged as quickly as possible, throw it in my bag and go off and have my afternoon of adventure. So I'm going to show you how that works. So I've got two chargers plugged here on the floor. I've got one here that's plugged into a power delivery system. That's a USB-C, and I'll plug it in the front. Now, I mentioned those LEDs before. If you look closely, and I'll do a blow up of this, if you plug this into a charger that's power delivery compatible that can fast charge this thing, you'll see those LEDs start to strobe across the front. Then you know you're getting the full current into this thing to charge it quickly. I can also charge it from a standard USB-A connection. So I've got a standard charger over there that's a 2 amp charger. If I plug that one in, again, it's a USB-C connection on this end, you'll see only one LED come on, which is indicating that I've got a non-PD or USB-C charger that's sort of a medium current device. It'll still charge it just fine, but it might take 2 or 3 times as long to charge it. So when you buy this, make sure you buy a compatible PD charger or a USB-C charger that's high current or quick charge compatible for the wall, and that way you can charge this thing very quickly. That LED indicator on the front will also have the same indications when you're charging an external device. When you plug a cable into this, plug it into your remote device, if it's quick charge compatible or it's fast charging compatible, it'll kick into high charge mode. You'll see that strobing go across the front. So it's kind of reassuring to see those LEDs strobing, knowing that I'm getting a quick charge to whatever device I've connected. If it's not going to quick charge, or if you connect up to the USB-A, you'll have one single light on letting you know you're charging it. So again, I've mentioned a lot of the cool features that are built into this. I just think that the engineers that sit down to put this thing together on the workbench said, We can build a lot of brains into this, and we should let the consumer know exactly what's going on with it, both when we're charging devices and when we're charging the charger. And I love that they built all those features in there, and none of those you would have known about if you hadn't read the manual. So I've given you all the hints you need to get this thing up and running. I love it. I use it. There's a lot of other banks out there, battery banks out there, and power banks like this one on the market. I'm telling you, I haven't seen too many that have all these features built into them, and the price is incredibly reasonable. So I've got a link below where you can go check out the specs on their website. Now, at the time of making this clip, they've got a special on, I think for the next 30 days, where they knock a big chunk of the price off. So if you use the link below, you'll get a real good discount on it. And again, it comes in black, comes in pink. Both of them work the same. It's just cosmetic differences between them. But I love this company. VogDuo is a wonderful company. I've worked with them before, and I just find that every product I test from them is built to really high standards on fit and form and function, and I just really can recommend it to anybody asking me about them. So that's pretty much all I had for today. If you want to check this out and find out more information on it, again, there's a link below where you can go check it out. But I really enjoy putting these clips together. I hope you guys are finding value in them. So thanks again for watching, and until next time, see you soon.